Today I'm going to touch on a topic that I really don't want to talk about. Anything CSS related, styling related, I usually stay away from. I just don't like it. I'm not good at it. And it's just something that I'm avoiding by almost all means. So let's go over this. I'm going to make this even shorter than usual, just because I'll let you guys go through this and figure things out, which you've been doing with all the other chapters, really. I just provide maybe one or two small insights or maybe a high level view of what's going on here. So let's get to it. What I got out of this chapter is really just a very traditional way of applying styling, the way you used to import a file, a CSS file, and apply it, right? Pretty straightforward. Biggest thing there is remember that there's no class. In React, use class name. So whenever you want to provide a class for an element, just use class name, and then maybe importing the way you import is slightly different than the way you import a CSS file in HTML. So okay, so that's the traditional regular approach, and as far as I know, shouldn't be anything wrong with using that approach. Just keep in mind that with React, there's a lot of different components, so you have to figure out what's a master CSS file, what's a CSS file just for that component. So you sort of have to think about that. Also here, besides the traditional approach, there's also a CSS module approach, which I'll touch on for a brief second, and the styled components. Okay, so let's get to it. So here is an example of a component, and then you see that there's a class name right here with the value headline primary, and then here you can see that the CSS file is being imported. It's using the // notation for current directory to import this file called app.css, and I assume that in app.css we have something that will style headline primary or whatever else, and whatever else. So, and yeah, sure enough, in the file itself you see the headline primary class attribute with the styling set, and yeah, pretty straightforward. You shouldn't get confused about this, really. So yeah, there's nothing special here per se. Again, class name instead of class. So moving on. All right, let's touch on inline style. That is, wow, in style. I'm combining two words here. Inline style, the inline style approach, which is just applying and defining the styling within the element. So you can see, where can you see that? I don't see it anywhere here. Over here it talks about naming conventions for the class names, using underscore to separate words, but I'm surprised I didn't see the inline style. Was it on the previous? Yep, on the previous page. Okay, so here you can see there's this element. Let's pick this element right, actually this span right here, right under this div. You can see there's styling being applied within the element itself using the style attribute. So style equals, and then two curly braces with the style that you want to apply. And if there's more than one set of styles, then separate them by comma, just like you would do in a CSS file. Okay, or actually a CSS file, it's a semicolon. Here you would here we go. I think you would separate them with a comma. I wonder if it's a semicolon. Let's look it up. In Instagram? No, we don't want Instagram. We want inline styling. So inline styling, React. Let's just quickly look at it and see if we can find something useful in regards to multiple stylings. Come on. Okay, here we go. Here's an example. So 2 curly braces. That's important. It's easy to overlook that or make a mistake there because you would not expect 2 curly braces. I guess it sort of makes sense. This is to, to let React know that GSX is coming, JavaScript is coming, and then this is the actual set of styling. And then they're comma separated. And then, the key part of this object is without quotes, so that's important. Then it's a colon, not an equal sign. That's important. And then the value is what you would put down in the CSS file. So that part shouldn't change. So in this case, blue is a color which is in string format. You put it in string format. But line height is an integer format or float format, and you put it as such. Okay, I hope that makes sense, and I hope I'm not making your learning worse. I hope I'm helping you understand React a little bit better. All right, moving on. Moving on to the only other thing I wanted to touch on is that module stuff, which really is just naming the CSS file differently, meaning here, okay, so here's the section of that. If you add the word module in between the name of the CSS file and the CSS extension, just .module, and then, but everything else should stay the same, exactly the same, except for maybe, okay, so here we're importing from the module and we're saying import styles from so-and-so, right? So we didn't do that with the regular CSS file. So if we go back, I think that's something that's easy to miss. Right here we just did import, right? The CSS file. You can see, trying to highlight here, right there, right? So actually, you know what? I should just literally highlight it. And then here, where was it? Here, you have styles, import styles from so-and-so, okay? And then you can do things like this. Instead of saying, instead of specifying a class name and then defining the styling for that class name in the CSS file, or in this case module CSS file, you just do styles, which is the thing that you imported, dot, and then the name of the class in the CSS file. Styles.container. There is, what else is there? I could have sworn I saw some other examples besides that one. Oh yeah, there it is, styles.item. Let me highlight them. So yeah, so looks a little bit cleaner, right? Looks a little bit more more production ready, in my opinion. Okay, and then the only other thing I wanted to mention is, I think this should be the last thing, is when you have multiple class names and you want to and you're using modules, you can use the string. I'm looking for the right word here. Is it interpolation? Actually, I want to figure this out. I always mess up the name here. It's template literals. Oh my god, that would have driven me nuts. Template. Oops, that's not it. Template literals. You might be thinking, this guy doesn't even know what that is. Come on. Template literals. There we go. Just want to go over. I just want to look that up real quick for my own sanity. Yeah, it's the ones with the backticks, and then you embed whatever else inside of the string. So you can do Johnny with quotes without doing like a backslash. So that's besides the point. You use the dollars, but more importantly, the dollar sign, the curly brace, right? So like that. This is the whole point of this template literals. Then string interpolation. Is that the same thing? Oh shit, it's the same. Okay, I did use the right word, the right term. I guess they're used interchangeably. It can be, at least in this context. So okay, cool. So let's move on. Let's go to the next. Yeah. So string interpolation or template literals for multiple class names. And you know what? There's another approach that he touched on, but I'm not going to touch on that. I don't know why he did. I don't think it was necessary. We imported another library to separate or specify multiple class names, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, I want to stop here. Oh, there's more. I didn't even see this. I didn't even get this far. I stopped at the last slide, so I didn't look into this chapter really. So let's go over this together. CSS in JS. Styled components in React. Import styled from styled components. So what I see is, what I want to focus on is this. This is the first thing that stands out, right? We're importing styled from styled components. Styled components, I assume, is something that comes from React. And let's see what we do with it. So now we do something like styled h1, and we specify the styling. We do that within the definition of the component. So do you see how it's different now, the way we specify it? It's almost the way we use it in the previous example, when we imported the module, but here we specify the styling using the same approach. So style.h1, and then you specify it. And I think what's important here is that we use string literals. Yeah, interesting. We use the backticks here to specify, and it goes right after. It's a little bit weird because it's like style.h1, and then it's like, and you go straight into the string, if you will, specifying the styling. And we have styled container, styled headline primary. What was this? Sorry. Styled container. Interesting. Okay, cool. There's a whole section I didn't even get a chance to prepare, and I'm sort of winging it. So you almost specify a new element, and you give it the styling, and then you use the element just like you would use any other element in your React app. Do you guys see it? So there's style component container right there, and here it's defined. All right. Okay. This is getting awkward because I'm sort of trying to wing it. Oh man, is there more? Oh, there's a lot of stuff on styling. To be honest, I'm not gonna go over it. I'm just not. Not my strong suit. Don't really care much about styling. I resist it like a little kid who doesn't want to eat its vegetable. So yeah, I'll let you guys sort of go through that yourself, and Yeah, which you've been doing anyways with this book. It's really all about you reading this book, learning React. I mean, just like I said, just have like me as a companion. So, all right. Well, that's it. Have a great rest of your day, and yeah, stay tuned for the next chapter. All right, take care.